everyone. Welcome back to Think Outside the Board for the third crowdfunding roundup of January 2024. And in this week's video, we'll be looking at 5 different campaigns that launched between January 17th and January 23rd. These are my picks as the best crowdfunding campaigns from that launch period. As always, my videos are bookmarked or tabbed, so if you scroll over the play bar, you'll see that the video is divided up into sections, and you can go to exactly the content that you're interested in if you don't have time to watch the whole video. Also down in the description section are links to the 5 campaigns that I'm talking about. So if something is particularly interesting for you, you can go down in the description section, click on the link, and boom, you're right at that campaign. The best way to support this channel is still to like and subscribe. So if you'd like to help the channel out, help it grow, please consider doing that. Without any further ado, let's take a look at the first campaign of the video, and that is for Earthborne Rangers Second Printing plus expansions. Now, this is over on Gamefound. They're currently at about $566,000 in funding. That makes them the biggest funder of the video. And they were working from a pretty high funding goal of $100,000. So they're at about a 5.5 multiplier. Now, if we click on this Learn More, we'll see that the campaign runs until February the 13th. And because this is a game that's already been printed once, it's already been delivered fairly recently, we can go over into Board Game Geek and look it up. And we can see that people have been rating this pretty well. It's got an 8.3 rating. And if you're curious about the complexity, right now people are saying that it's a 3.43. That is over the 3.3 line that I usually use as an indicator of when a game is heavy, just full out heavy, not even medium heavy, but heavy. So this is over that line. So this is a heavy game. It plays 1 to 4 players. Community is saying that it plays best at 2. There are a bunch of designers on this, including the Sadler brothers, but probably the most important designer here is Andrew Navarro. So if we click on this and we go over to his profile, we'll see that he hasn't designed that many games, right? Just Earthborne Rangers. But if we look at his description here, we can see that he was a graphic designer, art director, creative director, and finally head of studio at Fantasy Flight Games from 2004 to 2020, so for 16 years. So he no doubt has worked on a lot of games at Fantasy Flight over that time period in a lot of different roles. Then he worked as the studio director at Chip Theory Games from 2020 to 2021, and then in 2021 he founded Earthborne Games. So he's really the main designer on this, and he is the founder of the publisher, Earthborne Games. There are also 2 artists on this game, Joe Banner and Evan Simonet. Joe Banner, this is his first published work, but Evan Simonet has worked on a lot more things. He is best known here for Arkham Horror the card game, Fallout, and a lot of other Arkham Horror stuff, some Talisman expansions as well. This is a cooperative game. It is a campaign game. It features deck construction, and I think the best thing to do is to take a look at this video here. It's about 1.5 minutes, and it will give you a better idea of the game and how it works, and then we'll come back and we'll take a look at the 4 pledges.
Welcome to Earthborne Rangers, an open-world cooperative adventure card game for 1 to 4 players. Earthborne Rangers imagines a world where, in the not-too-distant future, humanity sets aside its differences and works together to pull both themselves and the Earth back from the brink of destruction. Now, thousands of years later, the people of Earth live upon it in peace, beneficiaries of the generational projects engineered by their ancestors and the legacy they've left behind. In Earthborne Rangers, you take on the role of a ranger, a sworn protector of the mountain valley in which you live. As a ranger, it is your responsibility to patrol the wilderness, aid people in need, confront dangerous wildlife, and explore ancient ruins. Earthborne Rangers is intended to be played as an ongoing campaign, and each session will see you pick up right where you left off. You'll begin by building your ranger deck, a thematic representation of your character's personality, background, and specialty. Then, as the campaign progresses, you'll augment your deck with the rewards that you've earned along the way. Although there is an overarching narrative to follow in Earthborne Rangers, You are always free and encouraged to roam the open world and forge your own path. It is here that adventure truly awaits, as do a multitude of rewards to discover. Each time you arrive at a location on the map, you'll build the deck that represents that location and the path you took to get there. In this path deck, you'll discover the people, flora, fauna, and geographical features of the surrounding area. And as cards come into play, narratives will emerge from interactions on the table, creating unique strategic challenges while telling your ranger's personal story. A story that you won't soon forget. To find out more, please visit our website at earthbornegames.com. The wilderness of the far future awaits.
Okay, so we're starting to see games more and more now that are open world. Mythwind is delivering currently, and that is very open world. Like, there's no campaign, there's no narrative built into the game. It's very much based on what you do. Lands of Gelsier was kind of like that as well. That went to an extreme where they wanted people to be able to come in and leave whenever they wanted, and so there was a story that evolved based on your play, just what you were doing. But there was no larger story that you were pursuing. I think it's really interesting that Earthborne Rangers is trying to straddle both of those things. So it is very open world. You're going to go just kind of do whatever you want, and there'll be a story that develops for your character based on what you do and how you explore and the choices that you make. But also, as they showed in the video, there is an actual campaign that you're going to be hitting if you want to. It depends how much you want to focus on it. But if you play enough, you'll certainly complete it. And if you focus on it, you'll certainly complete it sooner rather than later. And then you can kind of keep playing and create your own narrative. But I think it's interesting that Earthborne Rangers is trying to do both of those things or allow for both of those things. All right, so there are 4 different pledges that we're going to take a look at here. The first of them is the Returning Backer Pledge. So this is for someone who backed this before. And there was an expansion that was part of the first campaign. And so this is also going to be for someone who already has that expansion. So this is all of the new stuff. It's called the Returning Backer Pledge. It is $50. And for those in the continental US, shipping of $19. So it is a $69 total pledge once you account for shipping. I always mention shipping in my videos, but I always talk about it in terms of continental US. So if you are somewhere else in the world, you'll need to adjust those shipping charges for where you are at. So this Returning Backer Pledge is going to come with Stewards of the Valley, which is a new small expansion. Moments on the Path, which is a new kind of micro expansion. And then the Card Errata Pack, which will correct some misprintings and things from the original printing of the game. Which means that if you're going to buy this game now through this campaign, you'll be getting the second edition and you will not need a Card Errata Pack. So this is only for people who have the original version of the game. From there, we've got the Expansions Only Pledge. Now, this is going to be for someone who already has the core game, but doesn't have that first expansion. So maybe they got it at retail, a retailer, backed the Kickstarter and sold them just the base game. Or maybe they backed the original Kickstarter, but only for the base game. So this Expansions Only Pledge is going to be $100. It's also got $19 in shipping, so $119 total, and it's everything from that previous pledge plus Legacy of the Ancestors, which was the original expansion offered from the first campaign. Now, if you don't have the base game and you're just wanting to get your feet wet, you can pledge $80 for the core game. This is just the core game, so nothing else. This will be the new version of the game, so you won't need a Card Errata Pack. Everything will already be corrected. And it's going to come with these things: 540 cards, 35 card dividers, a 56-page campaign guide, a 48-page rulebook, the map of the valley. This is something you can also get as an add-on, but you won't need it if you're getting the core game, or if you have the map from the first campaign, and then also 92 punchboard tokens. So this is an $80 pledge with $19 in shipping, $99 total. Now, the big pledge is this Gameplay All-In. This is everything that's ever been made for Earthborne Rangers. So this is $205, $24 in shipping, $229 total. you're going to be getting everything from that expansions only pledge, and then you're going to add on the core game and the card doubler. You're backing out the card errata pack because you won't need it if you're getting the new version of the core game. But this pledge will include this and this card doubler. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the card doubler when we get to the add-ons. Okay, let's take a look at the add-ons down here. So here is that first expansion, which you may or may not have, depending on if you backed the first printing of the game and what you backed for. Let's kind of read what they say. This is an all-new narrative campaign that follows the events of the core game story, $50. It says, continue your Rangers' adventures as you journey beneath the surface of the valley and uncover the secrets of the ancient Estian arcology. Explore new locations and path sets as you delve into the arcology's subterranean caverns and corridors. This expansion includes new story missions, side activities, and reward cards, as well as a new map and dedicated campaign guide. So, I mean, this is the first big thing you're going to want if you explore everything in Earthborne Rangers. This is going to add in more content to your game. Then we've got the newest expansion with this campaign. It's called Stewards of the Valley. It's $30 as an add-on. New sets of Ranger cards to offer even more options for character creation and variability. So this is just going to give you more variability, more stuff to do, including 7 new roles. Explore more options at character creation with a new role each for the core game specialties plus 3 spirit speaker roles. So this will definitely kind of just give you more variability in the game as you kind of play it. And then there's this Moments on the Path. This is sort of a smaller micro or mini expansion, a set of cards designed to enhance the path deck. The path deck, they talked about in the video, it's kind of events, but things that will happen as you're exploring and doing things. And so if you've played the game enough, you may start to see the same cards from the path deck coming out. This will give you more variability to that path deck. So it says Moments on the Path adds new cards to the path deck in the form of ephemeral moments, narrative choices, and attachments. The cards in this expansion capture fleeting moments in time, moments like catching the scent of flowers on the breeze, hearing a tree fall somewhere in the distance, or encountering a predator with unique characteristics, adding texture to the emergent narrative. Contains 30 unique cards. So this is $15 as an add-on. Okay, then we've got that card, the Ranger card doubler. And I like to compare this to Arkham Horror, the card game. So if you remember the Arkham Horror, the card game from several years back, before they revamped it within the last few years, you would get a base game that essentially could play 2 players. And there were cards in there that you would use to construct your decks. But if you wanted some of the same cards as the other player, or if you wanted enough cards to be able to play with 4 players, you needed to get a second base game. This is kind of similar. So as you're constructing your decks, if you and your co-players want some of those same cards in your deck, there won't be enough in the base game. So you'll need this card doubler to get extra copies of everything so that you can truly customize your deck the way you want. This is $30 as an add-on. It says exactly what it says on the box. The doubler gives you all the Ranger cards from the core game again. This reusable deck box contains an additional set of the Ranger cards found in the Earthborne Rangers base game. When added to your collection, it doubles the available options for deck building and modification, allowing you and your group to play with duplicate backgrounds, roles, personalities, specializations, and/or aspects. The doubler increases the inventory of each in-game merchant and tutor, and also contains an additional set of campaign reward cards. So when you get to in-game merchants, you're going to have more options in terms of what you can buy as well. Then we've got these deluxe wooden tokens. Now these were available in the first campaign. They may be something that you added on or not. This is $20 as an add-on, but read the fine print. It says a high-quality set of tokens and dice that make it easier to track the action during a session of Earthborne Rangers. Each set includes enough tokens and counters for 1 player. So however many players you're playing with, if you want these deluxe wooden tokens, you will need to add on that many sets, and then you'll choose the color. This add-on, the Deluxe Ranger tokens, I don't believe existed previously. I think this is new. So if you want this, you'll need to add it on. It's not included in any of the pledge levels. This is $15 as an add-on, 8 stylish and adorable Ranger meeples. They are screen printed, and these tokens upgrade the punchboard Ranger tokens that come in the core game. So definitely something that you need to add on, not included in any of the pledges. Then we've got this Valley Trail map, which is included in the core game now. I believe it was included in the core game in the past, but it may have been just an add-on for the Kickstarter. It's possible if you've got like a retail version of Earthborne Rangers, maybe it didn't have this. So you kind of need to check your copy, but you can add it on for $5, but you probably already have this. And this is just kind of a big fold-out map that shows you the entire map of the game. There's also this lore book. It's called The World of Earthborne Rangers. This is $30 as an add-on. This could be something that you have from the original campaign. It's not included in any of the pledges, though, so if you do want it, you'll need to add it on. It's $30. Explore the world of Earthborne Rangers in this finely detailed art and lore book. You can kind of see what it's got going on there. So it's got art and it's got lore. Then they've got 4 different selections of minis. And these are not plastic, they're pewter. Series 1 is $40, so is Series 2 and 3. Series 4 is $30 because there's only 3 minis instead of 4. So it's a little bit cheaper. Essentially, you're paying $10 a mini. And the minis are all designed around the various art from the base game and the various expansions. In this entry, they actually show you what these minis look like, but they don't have this picture for the other ones. And there are essentially 4 roles in the game. There's the Artificer, the Conciliator, the Explorer, and the Shaper. And there are very specific versions of these roles here. So there's 1 Exceptional Tinkerer, 1 Guardian, 1 Peerless Pathfinder, and 1 Prodigy of the Floating Tower, and that's what they look like. Now, if you were to go to a different minis pack, it's the same roles, but the minis themselves are different. So there's 1 Masterful Engineer, 1 Voice of the Elders, 1 Undaunted Seeker, 1 Adherent of the First Ideal. I think that you probably don't need all of the minis. You could probably just pick 1 pack that you like the most and use that, because then you'll have a mini for every role. But if you want a lot of variability, you certainly could add on all 4 of these packs. It would be $150 to add on all 4. And they're not included in any of the pledges, so whichever pack of minis you want, if any, you will need to add on. There are also 4 playmats, and they're essentially identical. They're just themed a little bit differently. They have different art, but you should only need to get 1 of these mats. Each one is $30 as an add-on. They're called Underground, Atrox Mountain, Cavern, and Ravine. Finally, there's the Card Errata pack, which you will only need if you have the first printing of the game, and if you're backing, like the returning backer pledge, it's already coming with that. But if for some reason you don't want any of the new stuff, you just want to come in here and get this $5 Card Errata pack, you could do that. There's also more copies of the core game for $80, and this is going to be the 2nd edition, so if you get this, you won't need the Card Errata pack. So those are all the add-ons, those are all the pledges, and if we go back up here to one of the pledges, we can see that this campaign is shooting to deliver in December of 2024. Again, this is on Gamefound, and this was a January 23rd launch, and so is everything else that we're going to be looking at today. So the next of these is High Frontier for All Module 5. High Frontier is a game that existed previously through Sierra Madre Games. The designer was Phil Eklund, came out in 2010. And then they did a new version of it in 2020 called High Frontier for All. The original was just High Frontier. Now, Phil Eklund has some pretty strong political opinions. If you know his games, if you've bought them in the past and you've looked at his extensive liner notes, he'll say things like colonizing is justified and there's a good reason for all that. Things that are not very politically smart or true for him to be saying. And I think as a result, a lot of his games have now been bought out by a parent company, which is called Ion Game Design, and they've brought in other designers to help rework them and tweak them. So if we go and we look at High Frontier for All, we'll see that Phil Eklund is no longer the only designer. There's several other designers who have now contributed to this, and I think pulled it back and tried to make it a little bit more accessible and friendly to human beings. It's still a very heavy game though. It's coming in at a 4.81. Most games, even heavy games, don't get out of the 3 rating. So this is going to be a very heavy game, but people are rating it pretty highly. It's got an 8.4 rating, and it's, the new version has sucked away some of the nastiness of the human known as Phil Eklund. There are 2 artists involved with this version of the game. Anna Lindberg, this is her first published work, and Josephine Strand, who's also done some other work for Ion Game Design, including Galenis, Pack Renaissance 2nd Edition, and Station Fall. And Ion Game Design themselves are best known for Pax Porfiriana, Pax Renaissance, and Station Fall. So High Frontier for All is a very dense, very heavy, very complex civilization game. And with this new version in 2020, they've shifted into making it modular. So you've got the base game, things you can play with, and then you've got a lot of different modules so that you can add on more mechanics and more variability and different things into the game. And this particular campaign is launching the new 5th module, which is Economy. So there's no video really for us to look at in this one. The video right here is just like 30 seconds and it doesn't really give you any information. So we're going to skip down and just look at the pledges themselves. Before we do that, let's just make note that it is funded. They've got about $60,000 in funding off of a almost $11,000 funding goal. So they're sitting at about a 5.5 times multiplier. And this campaign launched on January the 23rd, and it's going to run until February the 12th. Now, if we go down here and we look at the various pledges, let's start with the cheapest one. So this is just for the new module, Module 5, the Economy module. It is a $27 pledge. It's also $27 in shipping, though. So if you're in the continental US, you're looking at $54 for this before all is said and done. And that will just get you the new module, so you need to already have the game. There's also this pledge called All Kit Me Up. This is $110. It's got $27 in shipping as well, so $137 total. And if we click on it, we can see that this is all kind of component type upgrade things. So you've got a 6-player add-on, you've got a honking big neoprene mat, you've got spectral factory dice, and then we've got this thing, High Frontier for All Tools 1. And if you click on this, it doesn't tell you what it is. So I did a little research. I went over to Ion Game Design and I looked this up, and this is how they describe this. Tools 1 is a player aid pack. It includes 72 cards for tracking features and other things for modules 1, 2, 3, and 4, plus the Jumpstart rulebook with 48 technology cards, duplicates from the core game, printed in 8 rocket stacks that also include extensive card and map quick guides. So that is what that is. And that's part of this pledge. And this is $137 in the continental US once you add in shipping. Now from there, we've got the all-in pledge here. This is $221. $33 in shipping, so $254 total. And this is going to get you the core game and all 5 modules. Very kind of simple. Now we're going to go sort of sidebar for a minute to look at this Interstellar Journey pledge. This is a pledge within this campaign for a completely different game. This is a $132 pledge with $33 in shipping for $165 total. And this is going to include the Interstellar core game and the Interstellar neoprene map. And then the 5th and final pledge is for this All the Known High Frontier Universe pledge. A massive pledge here, $444, at least $33 in shipping, which would make it $477 total. But it wouldn't surprise me if there's more shipping on it than just $33. But they do not have a higher shipping estimate than that. And if we take a look at the contents, it is essentially the 3 previous pledges all pulled together, meaning the All Kit Me Up, the All In, and the Interstellar Journey. So from the All In, you've got the High Frontier base game and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all 5 modules. From the All Kit Me Up, you've got the 6-player add-on, the Spectral Factory dice, the Tools 1, and that big neoprene mat. And then from the Interstellar Journey, you've got just the Interstellar core game. So the one thing that is missing from this pledge, from those 3 previous pledges, is the Interstellar neoprene mat. However, you can add that on. So if you want everything and you're doing this pledge, but you still want the Interstellar mat, you will need to add that on. And let's go ahead and take a look at those add-ons, shall we? So here they are. We've got the core game for $110 as an add-on. You've got Module 1 as an add-on for $28, and this is the Terawatt and Futures module. Then we've got Modules 2, 3, and 4, which are $32 each. Module 2 is Colonization, Module 3 is Conflict, Module 4 is Exodus, and the new module for $27, which is Economy. So, if you're playing the base game, it's not going to include these mechanics or these, elements or these themes. And you can kind of pick and choose how big you make your game and which modules you put in. If we go down a little bit further, we see that you can add on this Tools 1 for $28. You can add on the 6-player add-on for $28. There's that huge neoprene mat for High Frontier for All for $60. And the factory dice, $17 as an add-on. I'm going to skip past these and go down here. So Interstellar, completely separate game as an add-on, is $99. And then the mat for Interstellar is $60. And just to mention it one last time, if you're doing that big $400 and something massive pledge, you won't be getting the Interstellar mat in that pledge, so you may want to add it on. Also, we've got 2 promo packs. So Promo Pack 1, the Station Pack, and Promo Pack 2, Achievements. These are not included with any pledge level, so if you want these, you will need to add them on. They are $11 each. And then if we go back up to the pledges, we see that they are planning on delivering this campaign in October 2024. So this was the second campaign on Gamefound. That is it for Gamefound. From there, we're going back to, I shouldn't say back, we're just going to Kickstarter. The first of these is called Stellar Drift. This almost didn't make it, but it finally funded over the weekend, so I can include it. They're at $11,000 in funding off of a $10,000 funding goal, so they're just working on about a one-time multiplier, and this campaign is going to run until February the 13th. Now, this is designed by Brian Klein and published by his company, Mystic Tiger. They previously have put out one game called Manaforge, I believe it published in 2017. And the artist on this is Neelanjan Malakar, who's best known for Globetrotting, Scrap, and Terrorscape. Terrorscape is probably the best known among those. That kickstarted last year, and it was this big horror game with this kind of massive mansion, this kind of cardboard mansion. And it was a deduction game where you're going to have players on either side of this kind of big mansion. It looked pretty cool, and I think most gamers who at least look at crowdfunding have probably seen pictures of it. So that is the same artist. And this is well, let's take a look at it over on Board Game Geek, shall we? They bill it as a pull and write because it's essentially a roll and write, but instead of rolling dice, you're going to be using a bag building mechanic. It's listed as 1 to 5 players, and we are going to take a look at their 1.5 minute video here, and then we'll go over the pledges. There's really 2 pledges that we need to be concerned about. But hopefully this video will give you an idea if this is a game for you.
What the blazes? Computer, what just happened?
Captain, sensor logs indicate that we collided with something.
What's the ship's status?
Diagnostics indicate extensive ship damage. Power board, light support, navigation, propulsion, and fuel compressors are all at critical levels.
What the heck could have caused all this damage? Oh. Computer, engage manual repair mode. Where's my tools? Stellar Drift is a pull and write game about repairing your broken spaceship. Players pull colored cubes out of a shared central bag. Players then spend those cubes to repair spaces on their spaceship. Each repaired space gives various ship symbols. These symbols are tallied up on various tracks and can give rewards such as additional resources, special abilities, and victory points. Maximize your score and unlock even more special abilities by repairing the most critically damaged sections of your ship. Multiple ship configurations and player powers, combined with the luck of the draw, mean that no two missions will be the same, whether played solo or in a group of up to 5 captains. Simultaneous play means that every game takes about half an hour. Can you escape a dying star?
Okay, so let's go down here. As usual, you've got the $1 pledge manager pledge. There's also a retailer pledge. And then the first pledge that I think most people really need to be concerned with is Toolbox, which is 1 copy of the game. It's $25. There's $10 in shipping, so $35 total. And if you were following this before it started, where is the other pledge? You may have the VIP tier available. But this is only if you're following it before. And essentially, it's the same thing. They're just throwing in this, what do they call it? An upgraded cube bag. The handmade canvas cube bag. So that's coming automatically, but you had to have been following this before the campaign launched. So this would also be $25 with $10 in shipping, or a $35 total. Those are really your 2 pledges. If you want to pledge for multiple copies, you can. But let's see. They do list one add-on, which is that bag upgrade. So if you weren't lucky enough to, kind of be following this before the campaign started, you can still pay and get the bag upgrade. It's $15 per bag. You probably only need 1, but if you're going to be playing with a bunch of players, you may want more than 1. And there's different colors that you can choose from for this. But that would be really your only add-on that you'd need to worry about. And then this campaign is planning on delivering in September 2024. But whatever you're doing, you're probably going to be spending, $35. And if you wanted to add on a bag upgrade, then you're looking at probably $50. Okay. That brings us to campaign number 4, which is Storm Raiders. And this is funding pretty well, $103,000 right now off of a $12,000 funding goal. That means they've got an 8.5 multiplier on this. Not the highest multiplier of that video. That will be in the final campaign that we look at. Now, this is a dice drafting game with variable player powers and pick up and deliver. And it's been designed by Shem Phillips, who people know from the West Kingdom trilogy, the North Sea trilogy, the South Tigris trilogy, Legacy of You. And he had one game published with this publisher before called Shelfie Stacker, which is a bit of a meta game about trying to organize your board games on a shelf. Very kind of cute game. This is a little bit less cute. It's more narrative exploration with pick up and deliver, and it's set in a kind of post-apocalyptic type universe. So not really as cute, but great art as well. But I think everybody knows Shem Phillips from all those Garfield games. That is his company, and he's just designing this for a different company for Arcus Games. So there are a couple different artists on this, Dane Madrick and Paul Tobin. Paul Tobin is best known for Dreadful Meadows, GKR Heavy Hitters, and Shelfie Stacker, but the art style that he used for Shelfie Stacker, which is much more cartoony, is different than the art style that he's using for this game. And Paul Tobin, the artist, he is the entity, the owner of Arcus Games. So Arcus Games is his company, and Shem Phillips has designed a couple games for him, including this one and Shelfie Stacker. So we're going to take a look at this video, and then we'll come back and we'll take a look at the 3 different pledges. But, if you are a fan of any like Raiders of the North Sea, Explorers of the North Sea, Paladins, Viscounts, Architects of the West Kingdom, Wayfarers of the South Tigris, I forget what the other game was, Scholars of the South Tigris, those are all Shem Phillips. So you may want to seriously consider this. He's designed a lot of really, really good Euros.
Storm Raiders, you play a courageous raider racing across an ancient and broken land to claim valuable salvage left in the wake of the devastating Rift Storm. Over the course of 6 rounds, players take turns drafting dice to either travel or rest and repair their battered vehicles. There are 3 classes of vehicles: trike, plane, or sub. Each with a different cargo capacity, weapon salvage, and reliability. Each vehicle also has a unique ability that can be upgraded, providing a wide variety of customization and replayability. A raid at a wreck site lets you salvage resources, raise your reputation, and if you are lucky, recruit new members. Traveling to Stormholds lets you exchange your resources for lucrative company contracts, which provide you with additional prestige, medals, mods, and much more. Traversing the perils of Atlantis will push your raider and their vehicles to their limits. If it gets too much, you can make camp, allowing you to refresh, rest, and repair damage. After everyone finishes their second action, the round finishes. The last die determines the Rift Storm's path, how many resources it deposits, and how far it will travel. Storm Raiders caught in the path of the Rift Storm face its full fury, damaging your vehicles, your raider, and their reputation. At the end of 6 rounds, it's time for players to tally up the prestige points to determine who is this Storm season's champion.
All right. Okay, let's look at these pledges. As you can see, I've already actually backed the deluxe edition myself. So you've got the standard edition here. This is a $61 pledge with $15 in shipping for $77. And no matter what pledge level you pledge at, you will be getting the crew promo pack, which they say right here, free crew card promo for every backer. Let's see. They also talk about the difference. Here we go. Standard edition explained. So here's what you're getting in that standard edition. All the same gameplay, but with simplified components. So most plastic has been replaced by cardboard. The double-layered dashboards become a single layer. There are no storage trays or a central dice tray. For even more details, see the comparison table further down. So it's just a stripped-down version of the game, right? Like not dual-layer player boards, not plastic, just everything's cardboard. You go from like acrylic standees to cardboard standees, right? It just strips everything kind of away. Whereas if we go up here, what's in the deluxe box? These are the things that you won't be getting in the standard edition. So this double-sided game board, these acrylic standees, all of these kind of extra like plastic type things, right? It's all kind of like stripped down. So the standard edition with shipping, $77. The deluxe edition is about $80, $15 in shipping, so $95 total. So it's like an $18 difference. Now they do have one other pledge level here, which is the Everything Deluxe Storm Raiders. And that is going to add in several other things. Let's click on details to see. So with this version, you're also getting this Deadly Decisions mini expansion. You're getting a metal upgrade, and you're getting the Storm Raiders art pack. It's a $126 pledge with $15 in shipping, so it's $141. That means it is $46 more than the deluxe edition. Remember that number, 46. And here's the reason I want to say or make note of that. I don't know if they list the add-ons down here, do they? I don't know if they do, but they do list them in the details, okay? All right. So you can always add on the Deadly Decisions mini expansion for $16, the metal upgrade for $16, and the Storm Raiders art pack for $16. This is $48 total. And if you remember, I just said that the difference from the deluxe to the Everything Deluxe is $46. Okay, so you're basically getting $2 savings for these 3 add-ons. But if you don't want any one of these add-ons, the better thing to do is just don't get the everything deluxe version, get the deluxe version, and then add on the add-ons you want. And that's what I've done because I have no use for the Storm Raiders art pack, which has an enamel pin, a key ring, 3 vinyl stickers, and 5 art prints. So if you don't want this stuff, but you want the other 2 things, your cheaper version is going to be to pledge at the deluxe level and then add on both of these. That would basically bring your pledge to $127 instead of $141 for the Everything Deluxe. But these 2 add-ons, this is a mini expansion which features 4 great gameplay additions packed with tiles and tokens. Each mode is interchangeable, so you can add them one at a time or all 4 at once. It's basically like little modular expansions. And then this one, upgrade your metals to a premium enamel finish, approximately 28 enamel pins. So this is a component upgrade. And then finally, Arcus is planning on delivering Storm Raiders in November of 2024. All right, from there we go to our final campaign of the video, which is Tokyo Highway Rainbow City. And they've got about $100,000 in funding right now off of a very low, $3,400 funding goal, which means they're at about a 29 or 30 time multiplier. So they have the highest multiplier of the week of the video. Now, I wanted to show you Tokyo Highway, both versions, because it first came out in 2016. It was rated a 6.7. It's a very light game, a 1.47 rating here. But it's a game that has pre-existed, and this is an action dexterity game. So the original game here was a 2-player game, and then in 2018 they remade it as a 2 to 4-player game. Still about the same weight. I mean, the rating's a little bit different, but it's about the same. The main takeaway here is just that they expanded the player count. Now we've got 2 designers, Naotaka Shimamoto and Yoshiaka Tomioka. Naotaka Shimamoto is also the designer of Crash Octopus, another pretty cool action dexterity game, Moonbase, and the original Tokyo Highway 2016. Whereas Yoshiaki Tomioka is only really worked on the Tokyo Highway stuff. And then the game is published by Itten, who are best known for Crash Octopus, Hatsuden, Moonbase, Tokyo Highway, and Viking Seesaw. They seem to really focus on action dexterity games. There's also some network and route building in this, and some stacking and balancing. So we're going to take a look at the video here, and then we'll come back and take a look at the 2 pledges.
Tokyo Highway is a Tokyo Metropolitan Expressway themed board game, and thanks to its unique style, it became popular in 2016. The gameplay involves building roads, crossing your opponent's roads 3-dimensionally and placing cars strategically on them. The cityscape that emerges on the table becomes more elaborate and captivating. This time our Kickstarter campaign is bringing a new expansion set called Rainbow City. The expansion has 4 new features. 1. The addition of city landmarks to create a new cityscape. Including a symbolic red tower of Tokyo, and other new landmarks will be added, such as a rainbow, an airport, a museum, and a stadium. 2. The types of cars will increase to 10. From the basic sedan to a limousine, as well as a highway bus and jumbo trailer. You can use them depending on your strategy. 3. New mission rules will be added. This combines with the basic rules, and the gameplay becomes more diverse and exciting. There are many missions using areas or cars, so construction is more fun and strategic. 4. Upgraded materials. The new rubber material on the cars will improve their ability to grip the road surfaces. Also, a rubber anti-slip pad will be added to the back of road sticks to increase stability. Now you can play more confidently. Whether you have the original version of Tokyo Highway or not, stay tuned for this new expansion set, Tokyo Highway Rainbow City. Please support us. If you don't own the original version yet, you can choose the original and expansion set. It contains all the components you need to play Tokyo Highway Rainbow City.
Now that's kind of interesting because they say that the base game includes the components that you need to play Rainbow City. If you're to look at Tokyo Highway Rainbow City over here on Board Game Geek, it lists it as a standalone game. So it's not listing it as an expansion. It doesn't say that this is an expansion to Tokyo Highway, which is normally what it would say up here. It is being presented currently on Board Game Geek as if this is a standalone game. However, that's not true. You actually do need the base game to play this. This is not a standalone game. It is an expansion. So I just wanted to make that clear. It's a little unclear, right? Especially the way this is listed. But just know you can't back just for Rainbow City. You have to have the base game as well. And if we go over here and we look at the two different versions of the pledges, ignoring the retailer pledge, we've got the Tokyo Highway expansion set. So this is a $21 pledge. It's going to have $27 in shipping. It's coming from Tokyo. It's coming from Japan. So you're paying more in shipping for Western audiences. But this is a $48 total pledge once you've included shipping. But this only includes the expansion. So you do need to have the base game. They do have this other pledge here, which is the Tokyo Highway base game and the expansion set. So if you don't have the base game, you'll need to pledge at this level. This is $45 with $28 in shipping, or $73 total. There is one add-on here, which is the two-player version. So remember we said that the two-player version originally came out in 2016 and the four-player version came out in 2018. So if you want to add on the two-player version, you can do that here. It's $25 as an add-on, and it's not included in any of the pledges. So this would give you the ability to either play it with two players, or you could add this on to the four-player set and basically expand it to a six-player game. But if you did want this two-player version, or if you could also think of it as a 5- and 6-player expansion pack, you will need to add it on. And then finally, Tokyo Highway Rainbow City, they're planning on delivering this in September of 2024. So that completes the 5 campaigns that I wanted to share with you today. Before I wrap the video, I wanted to quickly mention a couple things. First of all, this video is running kind of late, so apologies for that. Usually my videos launch on Friday, but I've had a lot going on, selling off a lot of games. It's taken a lot of time. And the reason I'm doing that is to get my upstairs studio space in order, but to do that I need to debulk a lot of games. So I'm in the process of selling off games, which is taking some time. So that kind of bit into my weekend, and I wasn't able to get the video done as early as I normally do. I also had a game day this weekend with some friends. We played Dune Imperium with Rise of Ix, as well as Weather Machine for the first time. And Vital Lacerda is my favorite designer, so I was really happy to get to finally play Weather Machine, especially since his new game is delivering next month, Evolution of Ideas. But I will have a video coming out this week, and it should be on time on Friday. I'm not really sure what's going to be in that yet. I like to, at the end of my videos, kind of talk about what's going to be in the next video, but there's only one game I'm considering including it at this time of games that have already launched. So it's really just going to depend on what comes out Tuesday of this week. But I'm pretty sure that there will be things coming out, and I will have a video, and it will be getting published Friday of this week. So a few more days, there will be another video. The other thing that I like to mention is the games that have been newly acquired into my collection this period. So that way, if any of you would like me to produce a teach and review video or a live stream any of these games, just let me know below in the comments. So the new games to my collection this period are The Art Project, the new expansion for Detective City of Angels called Saints and Sinners. That's from Van Ryder Games, who do Final Girl, and that's sort of a deduction game where you're trying to solve cases around a city. And you can play it cooperatively, or you can have one player be the Chisel, who's sort of a dungeon master character who gives people information, sometimes not completely true information. He can play them off each other a little bit. I also got in Dorf Romantic with its mini expansion, The Great Mill, which is a light game that people have been talking about a lot from the last year or two, and I think it's something that Kristen will like. I got in my big pledge for Euthia Resurrected, which I'm very excited about. It's this huge campaign game. It's very well rated, and it's something I think I'd like to live stream later this year. So if it's something you'd like to see, let me know. I also got in French Quarter, which is the new roll and write from Motor City Gameworks. These are the guys that have done Fleet the Dice game, and then a couple years ago they had Three Sisters deliver. So their newest game is French Quarter. It's a smaller roll and write, and I think Kristen and I should have a lot of fun with that. I got in the Quacks of Quedlinburg Mega Box with all of its expansions. I got in Super Skill Pinball 4Cade. I've heard lots of good things about Super Skill Pinball, especially from Gaming Rules and Paul Grogan, so it's something that I wanted to check out. I got in Vampire the Masquerade Hekata the Huntress. I did not back Vampire the Masquerade chapters originally, but I picked it up at retail and I'm acquiring some of the various expansions and things for it, and that's one of those pieces. And then I finally got in World Wonders, which is a lighter game from Arcane Wonders that I think Kristen would really like. So again, let me know if any of those games are games that you would like to see me make teach and review videos for, or games you would like to see live streamed. Apart from that, if you want to help out the channel, the best way to do it is to like and subscribe. So if you haven't already done that, consider doing that now. And other than that, I hope you had a great weekend and a great week. I hope you got to play some really cool games. I will be back on Friday with a new video, and hopefully I will see you then as well. Take care.